3 years into operations, a highly successful software startup was generating steady profit margins and scaling its workforce. Then, on a Tuesday afternoon, they lost 80% of their revenue. Their primary enterprise client had quietly filed for bankruptcy, and within a week, the startup was forced to shut its own doors. The organization collapsed under the weight of its own lack of redundancy. By relying on one revenue source for 80% of its income, they built a system where you only have to remove the wrong block to bring the whole structure down. To build defenses against those sudden drops, we use Card 80, Risk Mitigation. This card serves as the architectural blueprint for spotting vulnerabilities before they have a chance to break your system. Winston Churchill approached these threats with a very specific philosophy. He advised leaders to let their advanced worrying become advanced thinking and planning. Passive worrying is looking at dark clouds and feeling anxious about getting wet. Active planning is grabbing an umbrella and a raincoat before you step out the door. Proactive risk mapping takes the generalized anxiety of running a business and converts it into a concrete, executable survival plan. As this risk mitigation overview shows, we can use a specific framework to filter out minor issues and focus on legitimate threats. The risk prioritization function archway measures danger across 3 distinct variables: threat level, likeliness, and mitigation difficulty. The single point of failure pillar illustrates a high-level threat, such as an organization that relies too heavily on a single customer or supplier to maintain its stability. The frequent operational lapses section shows highly likely risks. These are common but preventable vulnerabilities, like teams sharing administrative passwords with external contractors. The mitigation difficulty gauge represents the actual effort, time, and capital required to effectively neutralize each identified threat. Running every fear through this 3-variable function filters out the noise. It ensures you only spend your capital and attention on the risks that could realistically sink the company. This lower section of the card provides the audit questions needed to assess every department. You must identify all potential risks, evaluate how hard they are to mitigate, and find partners to help you brainstorm solutions. Choose one of these bullet points, pause the video, and spend 5 minutes writing down strategic decisions for your current project. Welcome back. If your audit didn't reveal any major risks, you are likely experiencing a false sense of security. The blind spot effect finding highlights a critical cognitive bias. Founders are often unable to see vulnerabilities within the systems they created themselves. The collaborative brainstorming bubbles emphasize that finding hidden threats mandates bringing in extra sets of eyes, such as consultants or partners who can provide a fresh perspective. Relying strictly on self-assessment is a fatal operational flaw. True risk mitigation requires aggressive, external validation to find the cracks you step over every day. Hunting for vulnerabilities can feel intimidating, but finding a crack in the foundation during a strategy session allows for a controlled repair. Waiting for crisis to reveal that same crack often costs the entire business. You can systematize this defense by running 4 actionable steps: spot the threat, gauge its likeliness, assess the mitigation difficulty, and get outside eyes to verify your findings. Mastering these 4 steps turns a defensive measure into a proactive competitive advantage, allowing you to navigate complex markets while your rivals are still operating blindly. Imagine losing your single biggest client, or your most crucial software tool, tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. What is the very first thing that breaks? Identify that specific breaking point and start fixing it today. This concludes your transition from a state of passive learning to active defense.